season today even. Afreeca Freecs will not make playoffs after being our runners-up in spring.
And they've got their fate in their hands. They're tied with SK Telecom and Hanwha Life in match score, and they're about to face both of those teams one after the other. Into Champion Select though, and we're focusing on the bottom side of the map for SKT. Tucson not going to be on his engaged supports, and Afreeca with the standard red side bans.
Is SKT just going to triple ban aggressive supports and first pick Tahm Kench? Because right now they have banned away the two favorite picks from Tucson. The Shen is still open though. We'll see if that ends up being contested. Has fallen down a bit after the nerfs on patch 8.14.
Yeah.
Final ban from Afreeca Freecs here will be the Tahm Kench. So that's going to be the focus of the final ban. It's been most played recently. It's 5-0 for Effort in their win streak after Pyrion came into the lineup after the Telecom War loss. So the Tahm Kench has been the norm for them. Braum and Pyke have been the other two picks. Jungle could be selected here. The Talia is certainly the first round jungler. It's taken off the board. The Sejuani preferred by most. Blank doesn't want to return to his Zac after a couple of down performances. We'll first pick the Sejuani.
Yeah, for the 11th time so far in the LCK, so Blank certainly going to hop back onto Comfort. Afreeca Freecs, what are they going to lock away? The Trundle makes a lot of sense. Going to go into the hands of Mowgli this time around. Orianna is standing out as a champion that Kuro could pick up, but it's been a little bit of a worry when it comes to blind picking the Ori. And a Morgana going to be locked in here for Tucson.
Now, will we see a SKT and Afreeca preference on the Swain? The Swain has been a big pick for Pyrion in the mid lane, and it's also a flex pick for Tal. Yes, the Ezreal could be locked in and still flexing the Swain if they want it. That's my surprise, because Swain has been dropped by most teams as they've fallen back to Marksman on 8.14, and with the buffs on 8.15, I think Marksman will be the go-to in bot lane. But Swain is still a flex mid and top for SKT. Interested to see if that's going to be picked up here.
Interested to see whether Afreeca go back to the Kai'Sa as well. Of course, we know that Kai'Sa Morgana is a favorite lane for a lot of people. SKT looking to try and stick with the Shen priority, as that is going to be locked away.
It's their first Shen, actually, since the Hanwha Life series. So with this lineup, they haven't been favoring it. The Tahm Kench has been the go-to. Of the picks available, it was Braum and Pyke, and they didn't want to pick up those two. So the Shen priority, a new thing for SKT from their recent run. Afreeca Freecs, first round Jace into banning some good matchups into Jace. Could actually get Keen a big lead, and this would not allow them to, would not force them to fifth pick for Keen. So they might actually get a priority matchup for Keen and Kuro if they use the red side appropriately.
Well, Camille is going to be banned away, so it looks like they certainly have that idea, and I love this, Pop Smithy. I was thinking that if this game is going to be won by Afreeca, it's going to be Keen hard carrying his team, and he needs to have the resources to do that. So I think this is genius. See whether Mowgli's going to be spending a lot of time topside as well on the Trundle.
What's the second ban, though? Because Malphite has been a matchup that's worked into Jace, and the sort of thing you could see Tal playing. He's played it already in this run. Do they actually ban it, or do they say, no problem, we'll leave it open? Let's find out here what Afreeca diagnosed the second champion into Jace.
Yep. Nah staying available as well, but of course Jace being the only pick into the Nah that has worked out means that they don't need to ban it, and the Orianna is going to be left as the last option as far as banning away from Pyrion. He has been performing fantastically well on the champion as Kai'Sa looking at the ban, and it is going to be taken away here from aiming, and that was what I was assuming he'd want to pick, but Varus is going to be left open for that reason, and this is also another pretty oppressive lane.
Varus is his best performing champion, so it's what we expect to see, but there's other options. The Kalista priority has been higher this week, and it's an old Amy pick, but he's actually going to go to Jhin. This is a Jhin-air approach to facing the Ezreal.
And we saw Teddy dominate on the pick as well. I don't even think it was into Ezreal, but damn, it didn't matter.
I wonder what the fifth pick will be in this composition, because two AD ranged poke champions. Very interested to see what Afreeca want to round out their draft with. Let's see how SKT respond. It's got to be an interesting choice, actually, an old favorite from Kuro. The Swain we mentioned for a mid lane pick. It'd be blind. Pyrion does default to it, 3-0. Most played by far in the mid lane. And now something into the Jace. It feels like it has to be some degree of a dog matchup, whatever you choose.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough one.
Could also be Swain top, I guess.
That's true. Tal could mix it up, but this would be a really rough choice. And Tal would have to play very, very reserved. So not going to consider it just yet. Kennen being looked at.
So this would be an AP Kennen, you'd imagine, to try to all in the backline of Jace and the Jhin. AD Cannon would be the most lane phase, but Jace outranges him and outtrades him for the majority of the time. So wait and see. There's an evolving thing there for Tal. We'll see what he decides on. Final pick here is probably mid lane for Afreeca. Kuro has been an old school Jace mid player, but we haven't seen Jace mid at all. And they're going to go for the compositional answer to a lot of bruisers. It doesn't necessarily deal with an AP Cannon oh so well, but Swain, Shen, and Sejuani, the wall, and just Kuro's performance on the Anivia earlier this season will be the decision from Afreeca. That wall plus all the poke could be very intriguing when the team fights come through.
Yeah, and it could also make Tal's life really awful unless he has his flash available. Having a wall and a Trundle pillar means that Afreeca should be able to control the battlefield like you say. SKT do have a lot of choices as far as lane control, lane priority, but you look at Ezreal Shen, it could be a rough one. Aiming and Tucson here on the bottom side will have a lot of agency to get work done in the earlier stages of the game.
Feels like the laning phase pretty favored for Afreeca Freecs. I love the Jace first round, last pick on the red side into double ban. Yeah, it takes some degree of bad matchup. It ends up being the Cannon. The Jhin into Ezreal has traditionally been a very good matchup for the Jhin, and they had their choice of champions.
Right, SKT, of course, fans out in force. It's a sold-out day today in the Soli Stadium. Understandably so as well. Every single time SKT's playing, you bet your bottom dollar you're not going to be able to get a ticket.
Well, Kuro's trying to represent team spirit here for the Afreeca Freecs, whose team spirit's going to be pretty low after all their recent losses on this team spirit Anivia. SKT looking for late vision top side. One of the best signs of SKT recently has been their game plans, which have been very ordered. They've been very smart about playing around their win conditions, but in that Gen G win, that surprise 2-1 they picked up a few days ago, minimizing Gen G's strengths was also one of the things they're able to do. And when you can both maximize your own strengths and minimize where your enemy team is strong, that's a pretty good sign you're going to win, Atlas. So
yeah,
SKT, a lot to feel good about. Fans, of course, sad not to see Faker, but otherwise seeing an SKT team that can be very competitive. We mentioned it in the pregame. This is the 5th straight start for Pyrian. It is the longest, ties the longest ever streak of Faker not beginning any best of matches. That would be, thinking back to LCK Spring 2015. It is, of course, also the longest amount of time Faker hasn't played in a row. This is game number 11 in a row for Pyrian.
Yeah, just crazy. Unprecedented. You've got Faker sitting on the bench, but it's been working, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it, is the age-old proverb. SKT will see whether they can continue the streak in this game as Mowgli looking for a Rift Scuttler here.
Unsealed Spellbook for Kuro on the Anivia. Could argue that Anivia could go Comet, but clearly he wants to get creative. The Ghost might be very useful for dodging a Never move later in the game, and well, Anivia is kind of this weird control mage who does have decent bursts, so you could understand Comet and also something like this. Mowgli jungling but showing himself around the mid.
And finding a land here on the bottom side as well, as Effort has to dash his way out. If you get caught by any of the CC here by the Afreeca Freecs, it's almost lights out for you, especially once a few more levels do come in. SKT have to play very careful here on the bottom side of the map.
And aiming's gone for a lane-centric build. If you go for Hail of Blades, you're looking for auto attack trades. Look at the enemy team and you say, man, a lot of CC to be juggling, maybe not auto attacks in a team fight coming through from aiming, but in the laning phase, it's so much extra burst. You scale uniquely on Hail of Blade's celerity if you're the Jhin, because you have movement speed for days. You go for Stormrazor, and the calculations increase again. Attack speed giving AD to the Jhin. So the only champion we see taking that Hail of Blades is the Jhin, and it got buffed enough times that right now, pretty strong on the champion.
Yeah. See whether aiming is going to make it work. Already working pretty fantastically well in the laning phase as he's shoving it in over and over again, but I have a feeling that's to do with the matchup more than anything else. Pyrian is the one really starting to dominate here in this lane despite falling down about 11 CS, but that's because he's been missing them and trying to kill Kuro instead.
And we have a unique insight, Atlas. We actually do have the ability to hindsight talk about the comms for Tal, which was, I can get through this lane, I'm going cloth 5, I'll do my best.
Yep.
As he's gone AP Cannon for comp, it works really well against Jace, Anivia, Jhin when they walk up for a siege. But in the laning phase, he's going to build an arm guard and he's going to hope for ganks. That's all you can really do as the Cannon when you go AP Cannon into Jace.
And actually sort of like it, conceding the top lane when it is Keen you're up against, because winning that lane is just really hard because the guy is really good at League of Legends. So just play yourself a down matchup, play for the team fights later, and make Keen as irrelevant as possible. You can do it when he's a Jace as well, because it takes a little bit more finesse to play Jace in a team fight setting.
Win lane, win game, very possible for Afreeca. If you saw successful ganks bottom top, you could see them rolling through this game, but I don't think that's the SKT that we see in front of us anymore. They've been very intelligent in recent games about playing around and defending where the enemy is strong, and they've also made smart moves themselves. Here comes Blank.
Yeah, speaking of which, actually going to go very aggressive as you've got Kuro. He's going back. Vision of Empire comes in. They've got a good stun, and the tugback's actually there from the passive from that Never move. Blank might actually have to use the Arctic Assault to get out. Didn't quite have it off cooldown, but is just going to walk past the Pillar of Filth. Mowgli takes a bit of damage, but otherwise not too much. And Pyrian
he might
gets
get in trouble
stuck
here.
right inside a wall. The pull does come in onto Mowgli, but has to use the flash in order to get out. That was frustrating. There's the flash for us. Kuro, can he actually get in there? And the flash from Mowgli secures first blood for Afreeca Freecs.
Oh boy, Pyrian got punked there, tried to pull off the back, and ends up just getting owned by the 5-second stun of the wall.
Sounds like a SKT mid laner kind of story, Papa Smithy.
But usually it was Faker, right? That was Faker's spring story of getting caught backing a million times. This time, it's Pyrian. Unfortunate moment, probably the only real blooper he's had in his run of games. Tucson holding on to turret, but can get away.
Yep, Black Shield is there as the Knight's actually down here onto Effort, aiming. One more auto attack would have straight up killed him because that was the 4th shot. So thankfully, Effort's able to get out, aiming holds onto his flash.
But now, if you're Tal, and remember, he picked the dog matchup, taking the cannon and saying, guys, give me some time, I'll do my best. Mid lane just died, and bot lane almost got killed as well. That's with no jungler involvement on the bot side. SKT are trying to go slow and steady. Afreeca Freecs, they're so far jammed on the accelerator, and they're getting a bit of assistance from SKT.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about this SKT comp is I actually don't mind it if you look towards mid-game fights, if they can keep themselves in relative parity. Oh, we're looking for the stealers. Bang! Just gonna take down Mowgli. The vision that they had available was good. Arcane Shift, he's waiting for it. Q's gonna land, but it's not quite enough onto Tucson. Bang still wants this, but they've got no vision. He's gonna move up, and he is going to be okay. Flash comes in from Tal as the hammer does come back. Keen, thankfully, did manage to take the magic damage shield, but my god, Tal blowing the flash and gets one out of Keen as well.
That's really big for Tal, getting the flash off the enemy as the cannon went level 6, went for the burst. That's with no items as well. Big moment at the top and at the bottom as Bang comes in and just gets the kill onto Trundle, who was falling perilously low, trying to pick up that Drake. Didn't even get it. That's a really big momentum turn for SKT.
Yeah. Drake is going to go over to them as well, and in the laning phase, having an Ocean Drake is huge, especially for what SKT have put together for themselves. It would have been fantastic for Kuro. Any amount of regen is fantastic, is probably why they were prioritizing it so high. And look, I was talking about the fact that if SKT managed to keep some parity in the mid-game, they're feeling really good due to the fact that Stand United does help out so much in a lot of these skirmishes. They've now put themselves right back into that position.
3 control wards on the bot side. I don't even know if Bang had vision. He must have to use the Arcane Shift aggressively, but it certainly worked out. Whatever the case, denying away the Ocean, like you mentioned, denies Anivia, Jace, Ocean Drake. That's the dream.
Yeah.
Because neither of those champions is going to be judicious with their mana. So big denial there from SKT. For Afreeca Freecs, they were in danger of just kind of really snowballing the potential win lane, win game, but that holds them accountable. Nice moment for SKT to bring some parity into the early game.
Yeah, true. Still, Afreeca Freecs in the driving seat as far as these solo lanes are concerned, but Blank found a great position top side of the map. Tal says, yep, I got his flash, so don't you worry about this one. This is a free kill. No flashing over the wall. Mowgli is going to turn up, but Tal is going to be able to grab the kill. They might even be able to get another one here as Mowgli is going to turn around, get himself out, had the subjugate, so wasn't going to die.
That was really nicely played by Blank, the sort of ganks he's been making pretty frequently recently. SKT turning this game way earlier than expected with some very nice moves. Both contesting that Drake and now picking up the all-important play. No Krug stolen by Bang, but he was close.
Yeah, True Shot Barrage just giving them some information on the jungler as well. Bang thinks that he's playing Ashe, but presses R instead of E and is still able to discover where Mowgli is.
And that was such a lovely 1-2 punch, first by Tal, then by Tal and Blank. Tal solo gets the flash out of Jay. Shouldn't be possible in such a hard matchup for the cannon. And then Sejuani sneaks in and they get the kill. Excellent communication by Tal and Blank. Very nice 1-2 punch, and those are sort of ways you get over what can be a really tricky matchup. Coming through for the cannon. Just get your teammates to come in at the right time. You don't have to waste Blank's time either. Great play by SKT's top and jungle.
Yeah, and now they're looking for it once again. Glacial Prison not quite available yet again, but Blank has the Flash, so the Flash Arctic Assault might actually be enough if Tal can layer some CC over the top.
Well, he just needs
the arm guard.
He just needs to start, and then, of course, Slicing Maelstrom can do the rest.
Yeah.
Bot side, we're just harassing out by aiming.
And Aiming's just able to set up right in front of that turret as well, as Kane is going to get over there, throws down his control ward, but will lose that vision immediately. No, actually Blank is just going to go back home. Standing in this brush is Shock Blast, not going to find the mark, but Afreeca Freecs, they know where they're strong. Bottom side of the map is where they're going to focus this one, as True Shot Barrage not going to clear out these minions quickly enough.
No teleport for Pyrian to try to respond to this. Been great about responding quickly to his side lanes, but nothing he can do here. This is what we saw Blank do in another tough matchup in our last series. Just camp for top lane and try to help. That was against the Aurelion Sol Xin Zhao that Gen G were running, you'll remember, Atlas. And
yeah,
Blank was able to stop the snowball topside that seemed inevitable on the strong topside draft that Gen G had drafted. But Afreeca making the smart move, play on the other side of the map. No ability to answer this play. They should get the first turret blood solely onto Aiming.
Yep, Tusin's hanging around here, but nope. Aiming's going to be able to grab all of that local gold. He already has a BF sword. This Jhin is pretty close to just grabbing that Storm Razor and being a gigantic menace.
And you think about the trade and you say, what's this macro from SKT? They gave up an objective bot side. If Trundle goes bot side, it doesn't really make good things happen for Shen Ezreal. It's not really a lane. Those trio aren't quite as strong. The Sejuani coming through for that lane could potentially make a gank happen, probably won't.
Speaking of ganks happening,
it's not going to happen. Come on, let's be real here.
I mean, that was a pillar put down.
That's true.
Okay.
That was pretty big in other games, but not so much in this one. The thing for SKT, though, is what did you say earlier, which is I like this draft for SKT if they can get to the mid-late game. If that Sejuani hadn't gone top this many times, maybe that never would have happened.
Yeah.
We're feeling like items are coming on to Tal that in a 1v1, in a counter matchup, may never come. If Tal can get Azonians, if Tal can get some more AP, and they can get into the backline on this Anivia Jace Jhin combo, they have a lot of turnaround this game and a lot of engage. SKT eyeing the mid to late game, and maybe now they're closer and closer to reaching.
Yeah, and if you're struggling to sort of theorize what Tal can actually do, imagine it was Smeb instead. Imagine it was one of our incredibly famous AP Cannon players, and you'd be looking at this going, oh god, he got a free laning phase, this is probably all over. Tal has been stepping up his performances of late. We'll see whether with the eggs in his basket, he can actually perform when it comes to those team fights that we're talking about in the later stages.
And it still feels unfair, even though Tal has been building up his reputation. You still get tantalized if you're an SKT fan because, you know, people still want Mara and Smeb, Duke, these top laners. We're still learning about Tal, but he's getting more resources recently. He's once again getting some jungle attention. He's been playing the Jace, the Cannon. He's been playing the aggressive picks recently. So while most SKT fans won't be convinced about him, this is the sort of game where if he gets the camp from Blank, they give up some objectives on the other side, and then he pulls off the AP flank, maybe SKT fans will be more happy about what they have rather than eyeing top laners they do not have.
Yeah, he now has himself an Oblivion Orb as well. Looks like Keen is just going to go straight for the Maw of Malmortius, so that's going to put behind things like the Black Cleaver, things like his Ghost Blade that he wants to grab for himself. Aiming going to eat some Honey Fruit, meaning that that dragon's damage is not going to mean too much, but you can see SKT with a lot of vision available on this Drake. Mountain Drake going to be the second one. SKT wanting to augment their collection of one already. Afreeca Freecs, though, have so much power down here. Effort out of position, has Stand United available, so isn't too worried about it, but Bang aggressively playing on this Ezreal, has himself his Iceborne Gauntlet, so can be a little bit more foolhardy.
Observer very vigilant to show us that Jason's teleport is down for about another 80 seconds, but Tal has his available. Risky for Afreeca Freecs to start this Drake. Of course, the first one was the first scene of the crime, you'll remember.
Yeah, and this is exactly the kind of fight that Tal wants, and exactly the time that he wants it as well. He's moving back from the Jace. We'll see whether the teleport does come in. Ultimate comes down. It's going to go over to Mowgli, but is he going to have to sacrifice himself for it? Bang jumps over. Does he have the Arcane Shift? Oh, good wall. He's going to deny it, and Afreeca Freecs grab a dragon and get out.
1 for 0. The Mountain so important with their siege comp as well, so they're happy about the pickup. Here's the all-in.
All right, we're going to have Stand United here as well, as Keen is in so much trouble. No mana, does have Flash, but that's not going to be enough. Oh, he flashes. Is he able to get out here? Had the Hammer Smash. Okay, Effort's going to tank up the turret as Tal looks for the auto. Oh, doesn't quite find it. The Q's not enough, and Keen survives. Tucson looking to turn up now as well. It's a 2 versus 2, but Effort, he flashes to try and get out of the way. Underneath the turret now, Ignite's going to tick down. Oh, has himself a stopwatch and should be okay as Mowgli puts down a control ward. Keen wants to get it. He'll pick it up with the shock blast. And Aiming says, come on, guys, I teleported for this.
He teleports, he ults, they don't get anything out of that. Bang will get a bot lane turret eventually, but top lane turret should go down as well. So many people perilously close to going down. The only kill that is registered goes the way of Afreeca Freecs. Nice escape by Keen. Was very, very confident that he would eventually get out. Used his flash, got away. Bankus is going to hide in the bush here. I know, it's a bit of a ironic thing to say right now, but they will get the turret for this unless Jace can come in and stop them.
Yep, and Bang's just going to give away Blank's position completely by throwing Essence Fluxes at him. But you can see Keen is going to get down here, but it's not going to be in time to save this turret. Looking for some damage onto Blank. Now that the turret is actually there threatening.
Nice interruption on that Q damage, actually.
Yeah, wants to find it as okay. He's going to have to flash to get himself the hell out of the way here. Dark Binding not going to register at all as Tucson doesn't even throw it. Thankfully, Arcane Shift is able to get Bang out, but my god. Blank really playing with fire there.
He actually interrupted the damage on the To the Skies, but took a turret shot, so it's kind of about a 50-50 as to what would happen there. Ended up getting out. They get the turret, which was the important part. Mowgli knows the enemy jungler is going to be out of the fight, but Effort and Tal can delay. Rift Herald has started here. You try to contest through the pathway to the blue buff. We know that Kuro can block him up.
Yeah, there is so much vision here available as well from the Afreeca Freecs, so they will freely grab this. Mowgli very strong. Kuro as well. He's been farming out extremely nicely. Now has 4 stacks on his Rod of Ages, 1 stack ahead of Pyrian as they build up those items at the same time.
Freecs trying to rotate first with their strong laners. We talked about how we like their champion select in terms of how the laning phase went. They had some great siege options as well. It's not really a siege when Shelly's involved. She always has to be the center of attention. They get the mid lane turret. Pyrian, non-interactive outside of his solo death earlier. 2 charges from Shelly, and now it's all about the 3rd outer turret and then the Baron control for Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah, very nicely done here from the Afreeca Freecs. Able to open up the map exactly where they want to. Probably want that outer turret top lane next. And then we'll have, like you say, all of that Baron control. As you can see, damage dealt the entire game is going to go over to the Afreeca Freecs by about 2,000, and Keen has been able to lay the hammer down onto Cannon relatively effectively so far. And also Blank as well, whose health bar probably amounts to a lot of that damage total.
Keen went a necessary build, but obviously not the highest damage build, rushing straight onto Maw. He's against triple AP if you include Sejuani. This 3rd turret will elude Afreeca for a while, and we'll see if they can problem solve a way to improving their position in the game. I think most of the side lane matchups suit them, as the draft kind of indicated, so they should have a lot of agency. They also have a lot of catch, as the Jhin can join in from very far away. So they should find ways to move forward their power if SKT stabilize it closer and closer to what you were talking about, Atlas. The mid-game where one slicing Maelstrom can rewrite the story and put SKT in control.
Also where they can utilize the Stand United in order to control these side lanes as well. I think that's going to be really important because, like you say, Afreeca are going to be pretty happy in any of those side lane situations unless you've got an all-in that happens and a Shen on top of whoever's starting it, and that could change things for SKT. Right now, Afreeca Freecs looking like they certainly have the run of this game.
2-item power spike on the way from Aiming. Getting full value out of his Storm Razor when he finishes his rapid fire cannon. Very, very standard build. Bang stacking up. Probably going to be a pre-20-minute Muramana working on the Blade the Ruin King. Can't afford to go double tier in a game like this. Might just lose before that 2nd tier is stacked up.
Yeah, a little bit worried about going for that particular item. Does mean that SKT are priced into getting their work done around that mid-game that we were talking about. Right now, Vamp Scepter is all he's got on his way towards that Blade of the Ruin King like you were talking about, but will be a Bilgewater relatively soon.
Baron damage pretty slow from Afreeca. The Baron spawning in a minute 30. Imagine, of course, the first big objective will be the Infernal. With Jhin, does a lot of things well, but cannot do the Baron specifically quickly. Afreeca Freecs move over. Unsealed Spellbook on the mid lane. It does mean they're going to have a high-level smite, though, Atlas, and that might be important when that Baron actually comes online.
Well, you can see SKT really want to start a fight around here as well. Everyone moving up the river. Bang, just clearing out vision. They have available to them. Kuro able to eat through these minion waves very effectively now that he's level 13. He's got his tier stacking. going to be building towards that Seraphs very, very soon, and with the Rod of Ages there as well, and a blue buff, good God, he can stay here for about forever. An approximate forever, Papa Smithy.
Me, the goal for Afreeca should be get the flash out of Tal, because while that, of course, diminishes his chance of a teleport flank, then suddenly it feels like the Anivia wall is actually the GG button, because if Kennen can't flash over the wall, they don't really have too much follow-up for the Sejuani ult. So that's a big cooldown, potentially to get out of the AP Kennen, much less relevant on the AD on-hit Kennen that we usually see.
Yep. Now Keen has his first Dirk here as well, so building towards Ghostblade most likely, and will be able to punish Tal pretty effectively. Seeker's Arm Guard going to help out there as far as nullifying that, but probably not quite enough, even though it is fully stacked up at this stage of the game.
Always with this AP Kennen, keep your wits around you, looking for those teleport wards, as Tal will have to give up a lot of control for it.
Yeah, ult's going to fly forward. Yep, Blank not going to be able to register the hit, though, and the wall is going to move him out of position. You can see all of the terrain they're able to set up almost closes the river on SKT. That is just going to be tower going down on the top side of the map, and now Jace free to roam himself down as they're fighting over this Rift Scuttler. It is going to be Afreeca Freecs that just bully SKT out of there, and you can just feel it. You can feel that Afreeca Freecs have so much control, so much dominance over SKT at this point.
And right now, there's no teleport ward to actually make the Kennen work, as Tusa just goes in.
Yeah, he flashes forward. Bang is going to have to flash to get himself out of there as Soul Shackle's not going to register too much, just a stun onto Effort. Tal wants to blink. There's the flash taunt to come in from Effort, and Tal is doing his best Smev impression on the back line. Good God, Kuro goes into an egg, but he's still going to die, and that's the SKT team fight that we were scared of in the mid-game.
And they're going straight to the Baron to try to fully punish Afreeca Freecs. Afreeca did everything right, but they didn't keep their eyes on the Kennen. Tal comes from the flank. This could just be Baron SKT.
That was absolutely the dream. Effort, I mean, he got smashed in the laning phase. That taunt could have actually won SKT the game right here. They've jumped onto the Baron. It's halfway through, and you can see Afreeca, they're not doing anything about it. They'll take a Constellation Infernal Drake and hope that they don't lose the game after this purple buff goes down.
After doing so much right for 21 minutes. Oh, almost a steal actually onto the Infernal as well.
Or almost a kill onto Keen, which would have also been pretty damn bad.
The Infernal Drake stats, I should say, will last longer, but the Baron against a run of play for SKT. Watch the replay here. Afreeca fully engage on a fight. The taunt flash is beautiful, like you mentioned. And then Tal's in there. Afreeca Freecs, they didn't have to do this. It's what you call an unforced error, because it started by Morgana flash ulting onto two members. They tried to make a proactive play, even though Afreeca's only job should be, where is Kennen? They didn't think about that, and they get punished in a really big way.
Yeah. And man, you saw the movement speed on Tal. Nimbus Cloak has done some fantastic things to AP Kennen, meaning that you can get that backloaded damage now. From the Slicing Maelstrom, we saw it in full effect.
Yeah, look at the damage.
That fight. Just ludicrous.
Enemy team did altogether about 2,700, and Tal alone did 3,400. Huge team fight for Tal, thanks to Effort setting him up.
It's only going to get worse from here for Afreeca as well, because Tal basically has a Rabadon's Death Cap and a Void Staff to build, and then he's going to be the happiest Kennen alive.
And also, all your analysis about, wow, Jace really smashed the Kennen in the side lane, the woes of the Ezreal in the side lane. Baron buff comes on, and those side lanes don't matter, because Baron buff babies you through lane matchups and makes it just a siege that SKT is happy to park Bang in the mid lane. Plenty of harass damage. Jace takes a lot longer to kill these minions. And that means for 2 minutes, Macro is going to be behind for Afreeca. Unless they can find a pick onto Tal, they're going to be slowed down. And there's no guarantee that when the Baron is gone, they can recreate the position they were in 20 minutes into this game.
Yeah, and the anti-siege from Afreeca Freecs is fantastic. So I like what SKT are doing. They're 1-3-1-ing, they're moving Afreeca around this map, and they've got to get something somewhere. Outer turret falls. On the top side of the map is the understandable first casualty of this Baron buff. But can SKT get any more? Because at the moment, it's only 600 gold in the lead, and Afreeca probably okay if they can find a fight where the Kennen doesn't get perfect positioning.
The only good news story for Afreeca was the Baron was taken at 21 minutes. Of course, most of SKT's quite squishy. They had to recall. It took time to push up their waves because they weren't ahead in tempo earlier. So it definitely, if that was a 27-minute Baron, could have meant a lot more structures. Here they will struggle to take this mid lane turret unless Blank can find a prized ultimate onto one of the members of Afreeca. So the delay here means it's not going to be the highest value ever, and they actually get the QSS.
That was an interesting one. They got Stand United as well out of Effort.
That's good news for Afreeca. That's another delay, which is what they desperately want. The 8% AD and AP will stick around, but SKT will lose the Baron in about one more minion waves of pushing.
Yep, they're going to lose the outer turret here in the mid lane most likely, but aiming going to step forward, thankfully. Effort does have that dodge field. It takes so much damage here, though, as the dancing grenade as well. Landing on a bang afterwards. All right. Tal able to keep this siege minion alive as it's just thwacking down onto this inner turret on the bottom side. Only 30 seconds left on this Baron, and Afreeca have done a pretty good job at staving off SKT. Now going to move themselves over and try and take down the cannon, who knows exactly what's going on. Will just back now that he has the opportunity to, with the improved back as well. Blasting Wand is going to be in his inventory, so looking for that Void Staff as item number 3.
Definitely needs to be a wake-up call for the Afreeca Freecs, though. They need to dot their I's and cross their T's on these setups and actually account for Tal, or he will straight up win the game after getting all that assistance from Blank. Think about that same play. If Blank hadn't gone topside and the cannon was down 40 CS and had half of the items he had, probably people are tickled rather than taken down. So it was important that he had his items. He now has his items. Afreeca will have things to consider. Remember, it's an auto-attack focused Hail of Blades build from aiming. How many auto-attacks are you going to get now that the pace of the game has been controlled by SKT for a bit longer, now that the CC and the threat is higher on SKT, maybe a lot less. I don't think it's the throw that gives SKT the game, but it's definitely a lot closer than it was at any other point.
And also before that, Afreeca had so much control over the area. They were demanding the respect from SKT. Now SKT are the ones that are able to set up. You've got Bang. He's happy to do things like this, where aiming almost gets taken out of the fight. That is going to spell the end of this outer turret in the mid lane. Bang will be able to claim that entirely on his own back. Really beautiful poke play from the Ezreal.
And that's the downside if you don't have something like the fleet footwork that we usually see someone like Teddy take. In this situation, in this game, he would have taken fleet footwork because the amount of auto attacks you see as the game goes on are minimal. And Jhin still does well against Ezreal in lane if you take a different keystone. I think aiming, hoping this game wouldn't have gone this way, but one team fight later, more structures fall down. Post Baron, they pick up 2 turrets they were slowed down from. The gold lead is actually on the side of SK Telecom on a draft that favored Afreeca Freecs in the early game. Feels like one more flash slicing Maelstrom and the game might end, Atlas.
Yep, this is exactly what SKT fans wanted out of this composition. It started performing exactly when it was supposed to. And again, SKT have been able to play around power spikes in their composition so well over their last 3 matches or so. It really has been what I've been impressed by. It's playing around the fact that Pyrion is more mobile and will go and help his other lanes, help his jungler, things like that. But also, SKT have been able to understand that, yes, this is where our comp works, these are the items we need, and then they find the fights that they're looking for at exactly the right times.
I would say for the people who are still staunchly not my SKT West Faker, this has been Pyrion's least involved performance. He hasn't had to rotate much. He was taken down in a mistake, so he's definitely been the least relevant here, but the other 4 members are capitalizing and making plays happen in spite of that. So at least SKT has a lot of good things to show. Pyrion himself is top lane, pushing here, and Jace, of course, second to the rotation after all the map control was lost. A lot of free damage from Pyrion in the side lane.
Yep, they're going to spot aiming though, and I wonder whether this means that the Infernal Drake is going to go over to SKT. At the moment, Blank does have positional advantage. Effort pushing forward in the mid lane alongside Bang. And Afreeca Freecs, they are known, so Bang's going to help Blank out, and they are going to be able to take down their own second Drake of the game. Afreeca's probably feeling a little bit better about theirs. However, being 1 Infernal apiece is great moving into an even late game. 2,000 gold going to the lead, though. It is nothing. This is still anyone's game at this point. Baron going to be up in another 15 seconds, and can SKT find another fantastic team fight around that objective?
I think Afreeca have to look for a pick, and they don't necessarily have the most pick on their team, but they have enough, and a true 5v5. With incomplete information, I really do side with SKT. You have someone like the Swain, who's mobile zone control. You have the Kennen ultimate that might be mobile death patrol. On the side of Tal, who's going to have 3 items very, very soon. Afreeca, much more about the setup, much more about, all right, what's to my left, what's to my right, who's spotting for me. They're basically snipers in another video game. And they won't necessarily have that control, and they've already made a mistake around an area like that. So I think SKT, very, very happy with a mobile Ezreal, Kennen, and Swain. Take a team fight, unless Afreeca can get the pick. The deck is stacked against them a little bit.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see SKT get a move on as far as starting this one up, because you mentioned 3 item spikes. Good God, Tal just got his That's a massive one. Blade of the Ruined King completed here for Bang. Also has the luxury QSS to go alongside it. And you've got Morellonomicon completed by Pyrian. Everything's looking great, and we don't quite have the Infinity Edge done for aiming, which is going to be a huge power spike. Bang going to avoid the Dark Binding, but thankfully Arcane Shift gets him out of the way as Anivia lays down her stuns as well.
And the IE comes in. Hopefully we'll have aiming left clicked on so we can see some of the bonkers numbers you get AD-wise on this Hail of Blades. The game goes on.
Look at the bottom side. You've got Keen lying in wait, looking for Tal. He was spotted on a ward down there as well, so Afreeca know that there's no cannon that they need to try and respect at this stage.
Keen is happy to walk up. If he doesn't take too much free damage, he should win the 1v1, but that is the definition of free damage. No lifesteal in this build for the Jace.
Yeah, also needs to land the Empowered Shock Blast if he is going to win the trades convincingly as well against the cannon. I feel like Tal is pretty comfortable in the situation he's in given the Void Staff that he just picked up, so having the double magic resist isn't going to be nearly as powerful on the side of Keen.
Notice that Afreeca's frontline is very, very weak. They have Trundle as a frontliner and he is 2 levels down on the enemy Sejuani. Has only the implied tankiness of a Gargoyle's Stone Plate and a bit of health from Cinderhulk and the Ruby Crystal into Kindle Gem. So very, very squishy when he goes for face checks. Gonna have to be proactive with the Black Shield to try to help him with the face checking here. Still want to have to be careful on a Smite War because Kuro can switch over and have a level 17 Smite.
Yeah.
And that is something you have to always remember. We're going to have, I imagine, increasingly double to triple unsealed spellbooks happening in our games because of some of the changes around the meta. Definitely double or triple smites coming through in those regards. But Kuro for now, in the side wave clear. Oh boy, Gathering Storm and also the Hail of Blades. We could be seeing 4-digit Jhin AD numbers. We don't even see those on our observer, by the way. It says 100-something. We know it's much more.
Yeah, but you were talking about where's the front line, and I feel like aiming's going to have a real rough time staying alive in a lot of these fights, and so may not actually see him reap the reward of having that massive AD number that you were talking about. But crazier things could happen, and Afreeca Freecs can control the battlefield. They don't necessarily have bodies that can soak damage, but they've got walls, they've got pillars, they've got ways of keeping distance from SKT. SKT still looking for that dream team fight with Tal at this stage of the game that really would help out as he's looking for the all-in onto Keen. Stands United comes down as well. Where is he going to be able to go? The taunt comes down and he can't get the follow-up. Effort is going to be able to grab the kill. Tal does most of the damage, but now SKT with a man advantage on the map.
Tal has the backup from his Shen. The double ninjas do their job, and at the same time, it's the right time to do it, Atlas, because they have double control ward on the Baron. They're not afraid of a 4-man collapse onto the Baron. So they're able to get away there. Kuro actually fishing for Tal, but won't be able to catch the Lightning Rat in the bot lane. So that's just a freebie. It's a kill. It's a Stand United down, but there was no counterplay available for Afreeca. Now Effort walking up.
Yep, Black Shield is going to be there as Effort will take a bunch of damage. Dark Binding lands onto Bang, but no follow-up. And Afreeca Freecs, you can see how aggressive SKT are getting. Empyrean finally takes down that inner turret on the top side of the map as a reward for that aggression. They'll continue just forwarding their vision, making sure that they can get Afreeca Freecs away from this Baron, and Bang actually has to use his QSS in order to get out of the way of that Dark Binding. Will take himself the red buff here, and he's got a very late tier as the ultimate flies forward. Mowgli, very tanky now, Black Shield armed, but he's now on his own. As Bang jumps over the wall.
So hard to pull off these picks. If QSS and cleanses are available, Mowgli isn't tanky enough in the front line to stay there long. So very easy for SKT to dodge skill shots and back away. Infinity Edge been done for a while for aiming. Kuro slowly flapping his way from side lane to side lane. Going to take some free damage here.
Yep, does actually feel like he has to ultimate here as well. Stuck in between the dead turret and the Anivia wall for 5 seconds is bad news. Ultimate not available from Effort, so he couldn't actually help him as Tucson, he's moving up. They really want to be able to grab this kill on the Swain.
Any kill will be golden.
Feels like a sitting duck. Can Tal actually utilize his teleport in order to get the grouped up members of the Afreeca Freecs? Oh, the teleport going to be coming in here, so Tyrion will get out. Now SKT will lose a lot of priority here on the top side jungle of the Afreeca Freecs.
Surprised we didn't see more of an attempt of an all-in by Tucson. I guess they would have seen the teleport animation and just taken it in the end. Tyrion's teleport down, his ultimate down for a while. Means it's going to be less of an annoying split push threat. What is this in service of? What are the items for Afreeca that will blow open the game? Because it feels like QSS against a no frontline pick team, getting a lot of value for SKT. Damage is being collected for Kane, Kuro, and Aiming. Actually getting the 5v5 they're looking for, we already said 10 minutes ago, unreliable at best for the Afreeca Freecs. SKT, they load on an Ocean Drake. That means that just being defensive around the Baron's not going to be enough. The Elder will be spawning around 39 minutes, 15 seconds. A headache for Afreeca Freecs in 5. But what they do before is maybe just get all in again.
Yeah, we're going to do this one. I think I've seen this movie before. Papa Smithy is Keen is in trouble. He's going to flash and bang gets it with a well-placed True Shot barrage. Thank you very much, if you don't mind, for the AD carry of SKT. He's 3-0-2 on his famous Ezreal pick. Yes, he didn't put in very much work in that last one, but that was a beautiful snipe.
And they'll just keep doing it because there's no punishment available for Afreeca. Looking for Aiming.
Yeah, ult's going to fly forward as Blank going to demonstrate that you don't need to hit these ults. Hasn't been hitting very many today, but that has been the way for a lot of our Sejuanis so far in the LCK.
It's just so free for Tal to get the Shen ultimate. They know there won't be a Baron play. It's Jhin and also Afreeca behind on the map. Afreeca keep getting nothing. SKT keep getting free kills in a 5v4. They can walk up, they can take objectives, they keep growing their gold.
And they're just stretching Afreeca across the map as well. When Tal wants to be split pushing as the AP cannon, SKT are making sure they play around Afreeca's strengths, which is in potential, 1-4 type splits, where the 4 does work. It staves off turrets very nicely, but Pyrion the whole time is splitting on the top side, and Afreeca feel like they're just stretched too thin.
And this last 10 days of Jace priority, where it's been first banned and first picked for top lane, we kind of, for the first time, have the old Jace conundrum, the NA Jace conundrum of when the Jace falls behind and you don't have map control, he's getting hunted down in the side lane. All of these plays onto the Jace are impossible if Afreeca have map control, which they did thanks to their smart draft. But after making that mistake around the cannon, the Jace just keeps getting shut down, can't do anything on the map, they can't punish elsewhere. This feels like one of those Jace games where the Jace can't lose.
And also, it's feeling like one of the AP Cannon games where the AP Cannon's feeling extraordinarily happy. Has himself his Proto Belt, used it just to take down the Krug camp earlier on, but that's a needlessly large rod. He's very close to having 6 items, one of which being that Rabbidan's Death Cap. And I have a feeling that if you're the backline of the Afreeca Freecs, it's going to be extraordinarily hard to stay alive unless the wall and the pillar are absolutely on point and Tal's Flash is down.
They do have those win buttons. The wall, a game winner. The Blitzcrank hook, of course, a very similar one, right?
Yeah.
The wall can also be that. But SKT don't strike me as making those sort of mistakes. What have they done so far this game? They've never gotten greedy around the lead they got by the turnaround fight. They just go for the sliced bread, the very simple ult the cannon, all in, CC, enough damage to kill the Jace again and again. They've done that every time. It may be vanilla, but it's worked out so well. The SKT fans going to be happy to see more vanilla ice cream because Afreeca keep making the mistakes that allow SKT to get ahead.
Well, looking on the side of the Afreeca Freecs, Kuro is very strong. He's got himself his Rabbidan's Death Cap, gigantic amount of CS, even with Bang here, whose double lifesteal, double tier is going to be done very, very soon. Afreeca Freecs will have tools, but it's just feeling more and more difficult.
But it feels like those tools, if they're not used perfectly, they lose. So you're already talking about, if it's a 100 die roll, it feels like Afreeca getting down to 30 or less territory. That means SKT have a pretty big lead here. They were able to gain turning around this game. It's to the tune of almost 7,000 gold. Again, Afreeca getting a pick is really the dream, but stopwatch, QSS, Shen ultimate, a lot of get out of jail free cards available to SKT.
Oh, thankfully for the Afreeca. Oh, good God.
That was 1985 crit onto the red buff. Okay then, Aiming, okay.
Yeah, he's got himself the Lord Dominic's Regard now as well. So that's 4 items for the Jhin, and already you know the numbers that guy's capable of. Hopping over into the Baron pit here, but SKT not going to start that one. Bang, not in the area. Pyrion is hanging around. As Keen, he's heading back to base. Okay, here's the fight. Bang, throws out the ultimate. It's a fair bit of damage now, but Afreeca Freecs just softened up. The Ignite actually down there onto Kuro as Bang's just playing with reckless abandon. They want to try and take this Baron buff, but I'm not sure whether they can here off this particular play.
Knew the effort was backing. They could still start the Baron, but it is risky, Atlas, so I agree with you there. Trying to spot all the teleport flank wards for the GG button of Cannon showing up next to 4 members and killing them. Kuro's flash is down, so reliability of that Cannon ultimate is now up. Jace's flash was still down, but will be up very shortly. Keen continues to back off. He's had the thankless task of being camped forever, and then Shen showing up in his lane 3 times.
Yeah, but he's fighting irrelevance pretty heartily here. Is the Jace. Kuro really wants to grab this blue buff, but not going to be able to. As Bang secures that one for himself, almost has his Seraphs done. It's a pretty long stacking tier, this one, as he built it for his 5th and final item.
I am struck by how it feels like Jace and Ezreal in Korea kind of have that potential of when the team's winning, they look unassailable. When the team's losing, it is, this Jace kind of scenario. So it's fun that we have both those champions in the game. Ezreal on, I believe, a 13-game losing streak in NA, but it's Bang, and we all know that he's very, very comfortable on this
He's pretty
pick.
good at
If
Ezreal.
Jace has a Baron buff and a split push, there's nothing you can do. If Ezreal has 3 or 4 items and his team has the map control, he can Arcane Shift Q aggressively, and there's nothing you can do. So just struck by how much parity there is between those two. Right now, Bang the happier of the two. Still, SKT haven't closed the game. I'm sure a lot of people have appreciated the fact that they played it so well, but they need wins. They don't need good performances. They have to win this series against Afreeca to really cement their hopes of being in the top 5. It's been a good start. It's been a good start. But until the Baron is registered, I think everyone holding their breath a little bit on both sides.
Yep, and Tal looking for that Rabbidan's Death Cap as a teleport coming in from SKT. All right, let's see whether we can make this one work as Bang.
Whoa.
All right, that was his teleport into the mid lane as now we've set up the curtain call. Tal once again looking for that flank. But the rest of SKT well and truly softened up. Aiming going to take the brunt of that damage as now Tal standing on a ward. Pretty valuable ward there as well from the Afreeca Freecs. Avoid another flank from the cannon.
I'd give Bang the benefit of the doubt if that was week 1, but for a week 7 teleport for an ADC, not the best, I gotta admit.
No.
I'm gonna teleport into the middle of the enemy team. How could this go wrong?
Well, I guess he thought that they were going to assume that it was Tal's teleport and back away. I don't know. It was just an overly aggressive teleport.
A whoopsie,
Let's
if
be
you
honest.
will.
A whoopsie.
We had a whoopsie in our first series. First Bang whoopsie in series number 2.
That was the whoopsie that really haunted Crazy, though, because he had the wrong routes the entire time. As now SKT thinking about grabbing themselves a 3 Drake Elder, and right now Afreeca Freecs not doing anything about it.
Because they don't have a frontliner, they're much better at defending 1 objective than 2, and they're saying let's all in on this one. Elder will be done. The Baron speed not fantastic for Afreeca, but not 0 this late in the game.
Yeah, it's going down pretty damn quickly as there's the teleport in from Tal. Okay, fair bit of damage now as well as he really wants to find this. Lightning Rush, there it is, 5 members! Good God, the damage from this cannon, instant double kill. He'll be able to get a 3rd now as effort turns up and blank. Can he land this ultimate? Yes, he can. See you later, Keen. Mowgli, the next one to fall. They use Baron as a damn bait, Papa Smithy, and I think SKT should be able to at least take a couple of inhibitors.
Tal was spotted on a trinket ward. The wall could have stopped him. It didn't. The flash was there as well. No way to interrupt. Tal gets the multi-man ult that he was dreaming about. And SKT, maybe they can just win on this push.
We'll see whether they can. They do have a lot of burn damage now as Tal needs to be here for his damage, but Bang's going to turn up. They're going to make short work of these structures, and it's only Mowgli to watch his castle fall down. 2 godlike team fights from Tal, and that seals the deal. It's what we were talking about before. It's Smeb-esque from this guy's cannon this game. They're going to take down the Nexus. It was a difficult comp to run in the laning phase, but it all worked out in the end.